be able to end our senior year playing for the championship like you see all these teams do, you hear about, you watch on TV, but not a whole lot of people get that opportunity or get that shot, and to do it in that fashion, being on the road and beating Mount Union in Mount Union, was just an amazing feeling. Um, to accomplish that and have that opportunity.
Thing I can remember is pictures of snow angels on the field after we got done. You see the picture of like Zunk's face,
Mm-hmm.
like after the picture of like him just smiling ear to ear, running across the field after we're over. Um, it was just the people that were up there from Belton, Texas. I mean, it was just everybody just went nuts. It was almost one of those things like being around the guys like playing with and like seeing like the parents and the fans that were up there. It was I say I didn't realize kind of how big of a deal it was probably beating Mount Union. I think the first time I first started to realize how big of a deal it was is after the game was over and seeing how big of a deal it was to everybody that I was around, and the guys I was around, and the fans and the parents, and getting in the press conference, and people started talking about. I don't even think I realized they hadn't been beat on their home field like 5 or 6 years before that until we got to the press conference, and people started asking questions. So it really started sitting in probably a little bit more after the game than it ever did beforehand.
And I don't know if y'all even had a chance to think about this, but really that was kind of the introduction for a lot of people to what Mary Hardin Baylor was about. We'd had some success in the NAIA, and women's golf had been to the national tournament a few times, but this was the biggest stage we'd been on since we moved to the NCAA. And I don't know if y'all could really get a feel for that as it was happening, or is that something y'all even thought about, or were you just focusing on the game and what was going to come next?
Yeah, just the game. I mean, you saying it is probably the first time I've ever thought about that. As far as what the school had accomplished in being NCAA, we knew Mount Union was big, but we didn't think of it. At least I didn't think of it outside of beating Mount Union in the Division III.
I think from pretty much all of our standpoint at that point, it was we were just trying to win one more football game. After coming back, beating Hardin Simmons in the playoffs, and then going up to Washington Jefferson, and then Mount Union, and then trying to go play in the national title. Like it was just one more, just one more game, and it was just like a week to week thing, at least for me. And that was it was just a week to week to week type of thing, and nothing really set in too much about the of what we may have accomplished with the university, beating the number like 1, 3, 4, and 5 team in the country or something like that in the playoffs. I don't think, at least for me, and it kind of seemed like that with the team, is it was just kind of a week to week thing, and nothing with that really ever set in until the whole season was over.
After we kind of had settled in, after the game and the next couple of days, focusing on the next opponent. But one thing that just was really hit me was that I know that this next game is going to be my last game. And how many players, can actually ever say that? You get to the playoffs and it's always like, I wonder if this is going to be it. I wonder if it's going to be it. But being able to get there and knowing, that this next week when we play Linfield, like this is the last time I'm ever going to step on a football field, and just being able to take that and kind of get in that mindset to get ready, to prepare, and then to go out and just give it, everything that you had, because how many people can say that? And I think that was a big thing that resonated with me, kind of coming down off the Mount Union win.
Everything changes from, you're such a creature of habit in football. You've got the routine down about practice and all that. That all changed with the Stagg Bowl. You're leaving on a Tuesday night or Wednesday morning, whenever it was we left. How different was that, and how did y'all adjust to that, to all the different changes that you had getting ready for that week, knowing what a big football game it was?
I don't think it was too bad. I mean, we knew it was a big football game, and that we were going to have to go up there and do some stuff different, but we had been prepared for that, and we had been on the road, so for that many weeks. So getting there early, having to get a practice in, changing. what we had kind of adapted to, and we got into the mindset that all coaches want their team to get in is just take it with the next game, take it in stride, take it next game at a time, and don't get ahead of yourself. And we were able to find that perfect balance and focus through that playoff run. So going to Salem and doing that was just part of it. It's just what we needed to do to get ready to play that game.
I'd kind of agree with Jeff. Like, we had played so many road games through the season, and then of course in the playoffs and playing at different places across the country that we were kind of used to not being in Belton, Texas, getting ready to play a football game. And even though it was a couple extra days, not being in Belton than what we were used to, I don't think that really affected us a whole lot at all. I think we're at that point, we were pretty used to it.
I don't think it affected us as a team. I just think that it was more of like a bonding opportunity for us, hang out, be loose, go to a few walkthrough practices and, get ready to play. We were ready to play. He just didn't work out for us.
I'd almost say kind of like what Walt's going to there as far as like a bonding opportunity to be able to spend time together. I think for us, whenever like that year, it was like it's like us being away and us being able to spend time together as a team and the camaraderie we had and us being away that extra time was probably actually a good thing because, with all the stuff going on, everybody there knew it was like we're there to take care of business. And I almost think like it was I think that team, like us getting away was a good thing. And us being away, being together, not having any distractions as far as being at home with fans or anything else. I think that was a good thing and a compliment kind of the success that we had.
About the bonding experience. Any ideas how many times Matt Bush started singing "It's Beginning to Look a Lot Like Christmas" on the bus or on the airplane? I know that's one thing I remember.
Oh, yeah. A lot. I think I still do it today.
That was good times. Good times.
I can remember some of us sitting out in the parking lot, sitting up there in 20-something degrees with T-shirts and tennis shoes and having nothing else better to do but have a snowball fight in the parking lot. Because I think half the guys up there at that point probably had never seen snow. At least not 2 foot deep of snow sitting in the parking lot.
It's true. That is true. I don't remember too much specific about the week. Like I said, we practiced in the parking lot some, and some guys would go off to interviews or this or that. And then we had the team dinner somewhere, and
I think we got like swag from somewhere. I think we got like bags. I want to say
that was cool. We got the swag bag.
Swag. Dang, it's been so long.
I don't even remember what was in them.
I don't either. I think like a mini.
I don't remember. I remember thinking of Linfield was going to be there, or I was wondering if they were going to be there because I didn't want to see them until game day. We're getting ready to fight those guys.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm sure that Josh talked about the bonding and stuff like that, and I genuinely believe that we did, but I think that it also there's not a just ton of crazy stories. I think we were on a business trip, and I think that had been our mentality all the way through, and that's why we were able to win on the road all the way through the playoffs and get to where we wanted to be. And so I think that's what it was, and that was the mentality going in.
So you guys come out for the opening kickoff. A lot of people don't remember, we kicked off like at 10 o'clock our time. It was earlier on a Saturday. They didn't get to play on Friday night like they do now. What do y'all remember walking out on the field on game day? What was that like to walk out there knowing that this is a national championship game?
I think in pregame, I think there was a little bit of, surrealness, just kind of we made it, but then in the back of your mind too, it's like, okay, cut that off. we made it, but we're here and we're trying to make something happen. So I think it was a little bit of mixed feelings with me, just the happiness of being there, which you could understand, but then we had to just cut it out and know that we were fixing to play a football game, just like you said earlier, creatures of habit and get into it. So I think I kind of had the mixed emotions of surrealness and let's go win a football game.
I'm not gonna lie, I had butterflies because I remember my first ever football game. I remember my last football game, and I had butterflies, and I was nervous, until you take that first hit, and then you're like, okay, now let's play. Well, it was a good time.
And I was gonna say, no matter what, I think no matter what level you're at, whether it's junior high playing for a some type of city title to playing for the NFL Super Bowl, when you're in a title game, there's a different atmosphere, especially playing for a college football championship. There's a little bit different atmosphere, and there's a different feeling, there's a different atmosphere. You can just the mentality is a little bit different, but there's just a different vibe all the way around when you get in that, in my opinion. All the games I played in, that was my freshman year, played in after that. I can't say that there may have been a game that kind of had quite the same sense of feeling after. And so when you're in a game like that, and in a national title game, and in a title game in general, there's a whole different feeling to it. And it was, even though when I was a freshman, hadn't experienced a whole lot of college football games before that. But any game previous to that, there's definitely a whole different feeling. And even from the playoff games that we went through, and going and playing, like we talked about, Union, going and Pennsylvania and these other places, it's definitely a little bit different in the media coverage and everything else. And it was definitely a very special time.
So the game itself, Linfield comes out and scores really early. I don't know if y'all remember that. They score on the first drive, come back, and it's just back and forth all the way down. They take a lead late. Then we hit the big pass to PJ and take it into their territory. Did y'all kind of have the feeling that, hey, here we go again? We did this against Mount Union. We're about to do it again.
Sure. I think when you've been in that situation before, and you've come out and on top, that does a lot for your confidence and going in and say, hey, no big deal. We've been here. And, I think defensively, from the second half to the first half, I think our coaches made some great adjustments in the second half. And, you go back and look at Brett Elliott, who was the quarterback. I think he had thrown before that game, he had thrown 59 touchdown passes in a season, led the new NCAA, all NCAA record, and only thrown 2 picks. And we came out in the second half and we picked him twice. And so knowing that we were kind of, crawling back in that situation and getting there, I don't think there was ever a doubt that we could win the ball game and that we were going to tank or anything like that. I think this time it just didn't work out. Sometimes that's how it is.
And I would say to back up kind of a little bit what Brett's saying, that Mount Union game, I kind of looking back on it, really kind of felt like, and even after we played them, that we played somebody that we matched up with well, they matched up with us. And if we played them 10 times, they may beat us 5 and we may beat them 5 times. That was, to me, probably 2 really well-matched teams. Playing Linfield in the title game, I can remember the pick I threw. There was a stupid throw, and we had a punt blocked. And, you're always going to have a few mistakes in football games, and you can always look back on any football game there is that is within a few points, and you can pick out a handful of plays that's going to cause that game to go either way. But that game, even looking back on it, I felt like overall, like offense, defense, special teams, that we were probably the better team in that football game and just didn't pull it out. Sometimes that happens.
Because I definitely think that we were the better team. I just remember at like halftime, because every time we come in halftime, the coaches want to know, guys, what do we think what's working and what's not working, And I just never forget, because it seemed like they had stacked so many people in the box to stop the run, And and some of the older guys felt that, maybe our passing game, might work, but man, we stuck with the run, and hey, it's all history.
What was it like to walk off that field? And I didn't end the way you wanted, but I mean, you got to hold your head high for getting there and doing everything that y'all accomplished, not just that season, but really over the length of your careers. How did that feel? What do y'all remember about walking off the field for the last time?
I think it was bittersweet. Sorry, go ahead on, Jeff.
Yeah, I was mad. I was real mad. I think Starnes' favorite photo moment is me not taking the trophy second place trophy they tried to hand to us, and then it's like me, Brett, and Starnes and Zunk maybe, and I got my helmet still on, and those guys got their helmet off. It's his favorite photo of me because I was just beyond myself. Like they said, we went in thinking we were going to win that game. We knew we should have won that game. So to end it on that note, was just mad. I don't even think I wore my ring for like 2 months. I didn't even want to look at the thing. I was just sick that it said second place on it.
Yeah, I mean, the bittersweet definitely sums it up, and the bitter part lasted a while. You look back at it now, and it's still great memories, and it's helped, I think, shape who I am, and I know it's shaped a lot of us. But that initial shock of just thinking that, I mean, we should have beat those guys, and we didn't get it done. It lasted a little while, and then eventually it just kind of wore off a little bit, and kind of as they say, time heals a little bit, and we're able to kind of look back and still have fond memories about it. But man, it was I think I had to take the trophy because I think they would have dropped it if Jeff wouldn't have taken it. So I didn't. I was standing right next to Jeff, so I reached out and took it. But it was a seeing the silver and not the gold. Man, it hurt really, really bad.
And I would agree with those guys. I think when you're that close, and knowing that, especially it's one thing if you walk into a football game like that and you end up getting beat 45-7 and somebody else just spanks the pants off of you, that's one thing. But when you walk away from a football game like that, knowing that, and I think each one of us looked across the other line of scrimmage and thought that we should have beaten those guys, and they are not better than we were. Just leaves a really sour taste in your mouth that's hard to get over. Still is for me to this day, probably.
Well, obviously there's a disappointment of the game, and then you come back and see the reaction of how many people were at the field house waiting for the team to come back, regardless of the outcome of the game. Did it start to sink in just how much what that team did meant to not only the athletic department and the university, but to the whole community for all the support that people came out there and wanted to share that moment with y'all just coming back, even if it was with a second place trophy?
That felt good, coming back and pulling into Anderson Fieldhouse and just everyone there outpouring love, support. It felt good, especially being, still young. We're still young. We're, 18, 19, 20, 21 years old and hurt from that loss. To have our fans support like that definitely made me feel a little better after taking that defeat.
Yeah, it was a great feeling because the fans, the community, Belton, Temple, they showed us a lot of support throughout the year. So just to see them when we got back to the field house, it was a tearjerker, definitely.
Well, and I will say this too, to add on to your question a little bit too, John. It was pretty impressive. All the away games we played that year, the amount of fans and the amount of support that we had at all the games that we played, like in Mount Union, and how many fans. I think we probably, I mean, the amount of, like, when we played Mount Union, we almost filled up the whole visitor side of the stands. And then we went and played over there, you know, playing the national championship game. I think we had probably twice as many fans as Linfield did over there. And so this amount of support that, you know, that year and throughout the years, at least when I was at UMHB, that we've always got from the community has always felt really good and been pretty spectacular. So we just need to keep that going, keep the tradition going.
You know, thoroughly enjoyed the support and just feel, you know, I feel so blessed to have been able to be a part of that team. You know, I have so much respect that the video that y'all did with the 9 seniors that made it through, you know, knowing those guys were seniors whenever Walter and Jeff and I got there, and just having so much respect for those guys that you know, to start a program with the coaching staff and with the guys that stuck with it, and to be where we were at that time, and then be able to raise it up, you know, one other notch and help to raise the program and raise the university up and do that. I just felt extremely blessed to be a part of that. And I felt like we were supported in that by all of our fans, and being there when we got back to the field house, it was a great, you know, great experience.
I do think it is pretty cool going back and looking on the success that, you know, UMHB has had since, and you know, how many teams have gone on to the semifinals, the finals, and, you know, won 2 national titles since. And then looking back and saying, you know, we were being able to be the first ones to make it to the national championship game, and hopefully try to help, you know, make that next step, you know, for the program to be able to have the success that it's done, you know, since the time that we were all there. You know, it's nice having the feeling that, you know, we had a sense of something to do with that, I think. And hopefully the other guys on the call and, you know, the guys that I played with back then, you know, hopefully feel the same way, because, you know, you know, we always say it, and we said it when I was there, said it when I played with these guys when I was a freshman. And, you know, even going back now, it seems to be very much the same way. Like, you know, going to Mary Hardin Baylor and being a part of that football program, whether we played 15 years ago or you're playing now, it's almost like we're all one big family. You know, especially with, you know, Pete still being the coach, and how much of the coaching staff is still there, and the program with the core values, and the things that it stands for being in place. Like, it feels like even some of the guys that are, you know, in the program right now that I may not know, feels like we're all a part of one family. So it means from that point of view, it means a lot.
Yeah, I would agree. You know, immense pride for kind of being a stepping stone, kind of being able to elevate the program to a new level, you know, and being kind of that building block that could really add to it. You know, I'm not going to lie, me and like Brett and Chad, when teams wouldn't get to the national championship, we text each other and like, we're still the best team that UMHB's ever had. We did do that for a little while. And took some pride in that, but just to echo Josh, we were very much a coherent team. We were very much about the players in that locker room, and to continue to see them going on and being successful just is amazing, and it's something that we like to see, and it's something that we hope continues to carry on.
Great feeling, you know, to see a program, because when I got there, I think my freshman year, I played on the team. Was Brian Lornett, Coach Branscombe? They was the first team, right? The inaugural season.
Yep.
What year was the first year? 98.
98.
98. Yep. Okay, yeah. So just playing on the team with those guys when they started the program, then what we took and kept it going, and what these guys are doing now to keep it going forward. You know, it's just a good feeling to be a whole to.
I think just the older that I get, the more, you know, I've learned and want to be a part of giving back to things. And I think that's one of the reasons that I coach, and trying just to make sure that I give the same values that I was given by our coaching staff and the guys that was around. And just looking back on the whole thing, you know, obviously, would have loved to have ended on a different note, but everything has its place and everything has a reason. And knowing that was something that shaped me and helped me to give back and the values that I learned and continue to give those to kids nowadays is just a really important thing to me. And I just playing for Pete and playing for the legendary, Corky Nelson and Marvin Agnew and, Joe George. And I mean, just all those guys just taught me so much. And I'm just pleased to have been a part of the program and give back any way I can.
I guess for me, looking back, even after the years I've been gone, and the success that the program has had, which has been fantastic. The thing that, having grown up, like Brett said, grew up with a father that was a football coach. I don't still coach anymore, but did for a few years. And, I think, and looking back, and you look and see how Pete's run the football program, the coaches that he's had, Corky, Joe George, Coach Harmon that's still there. Some of those guys, there's the way you run a football program and the way that you put an organization together they've done breeds the success that they've had. And looking back and where the program is, the success they've had, it makes me proud to say that, I'm a Crusader and I played football at UMHB. And I was able to play there and be a part and, be a part of something that, with those guys and with, Coach Pete and Corky and Joe George and, it's been fantastic. So very much appreciate that. And it's very much a sense of pride for sure. As you go back and look at how many players that we've had that have coached at UMHB, that have gone back and wanted to be a part of the program. Cody, Shin, Branscombe. I mean, I can't even probably count them all. Layton, Larned. I can't even name them all. Jack Johnson. I mean, you can go out on the list. There's a ton of them. And, and I can't say enough about, when I first got there, Coach Hafner, I can't say enough about him. When I first got there and, we kind of thought he was a little bit he had been a quarterback, backing up with, old Johnny U, which we'd hear about that, Herschel Walker, when he was at Georgia. But, just the, I would give some of my credit in this conversation to, what we did my freshman year to, Hafner being able to, bring me up pretty quick, probably, for sure. And so just being able to be a part of an organization with those type of people, to me, is just very, very special. And I think it shows and reflects in the program that Mary Hardin-Baylor has had now for over 20 years. And I'll get off my soapbox.
What has UMHB done for me? It was amazing. It taught me to be a better leader. It taught me to be a better person. It taught me to be a better man. Just going through the adversity, not only with the football program, but the campus was great too. We had great teachers, very supportive there. Dr. Balcom, always supportive of us. There was just a full community involvement and support in growing us. And, I attribute a lot of my leadership skills and what I do in coaching as well to what I learned there. Being able to be a leader for that team, being selected by peers, just helped me grow and has been fruitful for me through coaching. As Josh said, lots of people have gone back and coached there, and it's produced quite a few coaches around the state of Texas. I have a pretty good UMHB network, coaching in the high school football ranks, just to continue the love for the game and giving back to kids as those coaches poured into us, and really set us up for success. And we weren't always easy to deal with either. I was probably a little rougher than some, wanting us to be good. And I might have had a few explosions during off season here or there when I thought me or my team was treated unfairly. And they knew what to say to each kid and how to reach each person, no matter where you'd come from or what you had gone through. Looking back, I just take those moments and have just tried to learn from it to help me, going forward with my life as a father and a coach.